When talking about cartoons that scared children growing up, look no further than Courage the Cowardly Dog. By the way, we are 27 subscribers away from hitting 300 subs, let's keep it up. The show oftentimes acted as a blend of Looney Tunes and one of those old B movies. No, not the one with the dude who dated a 17-year-old when he was 38. I'm talking more about stuff in the style of Ed Wood. Anyone remember that, or just me? So, I was kind of thinking about the show the other day because I was searching for some good Halloween classics to watch, and I remembered how solid of an episode the one with King Ramses was. Watch that video if you haven't already, but anyways, I found myself asking the following question. Are there any other episodes that are on the same level as this one, that live deep within the recesses of the minds of the children who grew up on the show? So, after taking some suggestions and conducting my own research, I found the perfect one that I think is quite memorable, and I have vague memories about from watching it long ago as a child. If you are guessing by the thumbnail of this video, then you would know that I am talking about the episode, The House of Discontent. With this episode, I felt like the sense of horror was more unsettling with the threat of this episode's main antagonist, it just not being a monster hiding in the closet. With that out of the way, let us discuss the episode, The House of Discontent. The episode opens with Courage, Eustace, and Muriel praying over a dead plant on the night of the harvest moon to bless it with life and growth. Eustace just gives up on the flower, blaming everything from the soil to the Democrats.
These liberals are trying to assassinate my character.
For the reason it can't grow, making a promise to himself to never grow anything again. Afterwards, the trio go along with the rest of their evening, but just then, an ominous voice tells Muriel to get out, growing angrier and angrier until suddenly the food and kitchenware start attacking her. Luckily, Courage manages to save her. Meanwhile, as Eustace is about to take a bath, he starts to hear the same haunting voice, which then sends a torrent of water inside the bathroom, causing the floor to collapse and the floor below it to collapse as well, sending Courage, Eustace, and Muriel into the basement. There, the voice reveals itself, an apparition of a floating head, its skin pale as the moon and eyes as black as the abyss, bearing a sneer of both sternness and disgust. That apparition reveals himself to be the spirit of the harvest moon. He states that because they did not grow any crops for offering to the harvest moon, they are banished from their land. Once again, Eustace blames the soil, while the spirit of the harvest moon explains that it is not the soil that is arid, rather it is Eustace's respect for the land, entitled to fruits without labor. The spirit of the harvest moon then offers the trio a proposal. If they could grow a single plant by midnight tonight, then they can stay, else they shall be banished from this land. Eustace refuses to play this game and decides not to grow anything or leave the farm, with the spirit warning him that doing so would lead to the direst of consequences. With only 10 minutes to spare, Courage moseys on and tries to save the plant from the beginning of the episode, while Eustace ends up getting rage-baited by Muriel and the spirit of the harvest moon, both calling him out for being a failure of a farmer. With only a few minutes to spare, Courage tries various means of reviving the plant, with all of them failing. And back in the basement, the spirit traps Eustace and Muriel, literally turning up the heat as they sweat on dry air. After failure, Courage remembers a leaky pipe from the basement that could potentially give enough water to the plant to revive it. So he breaks back inside. However, it is too late as the water already dried up. Out of desperation, he uses Eustace's sweat to water the plant, managing to successfully revive it. Pleased with this result, the spirit of the harvest moon states that they have won and they could remain on the land. And most importantly, he tells Eustace that he has finally become a true farmer and he has grown something more than a plant, rather something that he is entitled to by the sweat of his brow, belonging to neither the man in Washington or the Vatican or Moscow, and sorry I got sidetracked playing Bioshock. Anyways, the episode ends with Muriel and Courage at peace, just chilling out, while Eustace sets up a stand for the plants, having arrived at the brilliant conclusion that if he could grow stuff, then he could sell it for profit as well.
Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Now, I really enjoyed this episode, especially with its most memorable part, that being the spirit of the harvest moon. Obviously, it's a real guy, but I feel like his design is reminiscent of that of Dr. Caligari, with the makeup of being clad in black and white, sticking out visually speaking, not to mention his almost Vincent Price voice.
Offerings are made. You have nothing.
Sounding otherworldly and beyond this plane of existence. Though, on the topic of other worlds, I rather see this episode as a metaphor for religious redemption, with the spirit not taking the place of a typical ghost, but rather a vengeful god. Let me explain. Obviously, we need food to live, so how do we get food? The answer being agriculture. That is what separated humans from the other animals, allowing us to grow into the dominant species. Now, back in ancient times, agriculture was often symbolic of life, with many cultures worshiping deities based around both ideas. One of those gods being Demeter. Now, there were some interpretations of Demeter that tied her to not just life, but rather death itself, or specifically speaking, the underworld. Now, I really find that fascinating, her being a goddess of two different dualities. Now, the episode is rife with imagery of farming, however, it is also rife with imagery of souls being condemned to the underworld, with the trio quite literally falling from the comforts of their house above, aka the physical plane, down to the depths below, aka the underworld. And not only that, the part where the spirit cranks up the heat as Muriel and Eustace can do nothing but suffer and sweat, that is quite reminiscent of hell. Only when they work to atone for their sins, aka growing a crop on their land, can they be free of this punishment and move on with their lives, having atoned in the face of God. Overall, I think this episode really did a great job of making the character of the spirit of the harvest moon quite off-kilter and foreboding, while having him be fun as well. Especially when you see he's just spent a good chunk of time rage baiting Eustace. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you want to hear more stuff like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you soon. Peace.